Guys, it's February 1st, and let's go over my take on the earnings of NXP Semiconductor. Of course, this is a company that makes computer chips. This is why I have this little graphic here that sort of looks like a computer chip. It has their colors and, nice and pretty for you guys to see. But essentially, the important thing is that they reported numbers yesterday. This is a stock that we picked up very, very recently. This is our newest position. We disposed of our position in Lam Research and swapped that for NXP Semiconductor because of their exposure to automotive, to the automotive side, specifically in electric vehicles, which is a huge growth vector for this business. It is cheaper than Lam Research, and it has a higher growth rate. Also pays a dividend, got share buybacks going on, but let's go over all that in the earnings that they reported yesterday. Before we do, of course, please hit that like button, hit subscribe below. I definitely appreciate your support. Hope that you learned something from this. You take something, you learn. We have some fun in the meantime, okay? Let's get to it. All right, guys, so I bring up the NXP website to kind of explain to you guys what is NXP, what do they really do, okay? And then here's their business segments outlined right here on their website: automotive, mobile, communication infrastructure, smart city, smart home, and industrial. When we're talking about their actual segments, this is really just one segment together. This is its own segment, and then we have mobile and industrial and communication infrastructure. So it's really four business segments that are there for NXP Semiconductor. And I always want to find the best way to kind of explain this to you, just to show you what the company does, because there's no use talking about just the earnings if you don't know what the company does and kind of what it looks like and what they sell, essentially, at the end of the day. Okay, so let's go over that. And the website shows us a really good presentation as to what they do as follows. Like this, we have a sort of like interactive presentation on the website. I encourage you guys to look at this and to see, because computer chips are hard to explain. They have these number designations, models that you don't know what they are just from what the model number is. You know, you have like i.95x chip, or the chipsets that are like the MX95s. That doesn't tell you anything. But here we're seeing essentially what we want and what they do. Okay, we're going to start with the automotive segment, which is the most important segment. So the automotive segment makes up about 50% of their overall business. So if the business is 100%, half of their business is automotive. This is why we like it. This is the growth vector that we're looking at, okay? So we have vehicle networking. So this is the antennas in the car, not the radio antennas, being the antennas that will hook up to a 5G, some sort of cellular network, so you can get over-the-air updates to update the software in your vehicle, not only for your infotainment system, but to make your car drive better, to increase the experience. These electric vehicles are going to need a lot of intelligence in them when it comes to range, range calculations. If, for example, Ford F-150 Lightning is towing a 10,000 pound or 10,000 pound vehicle or trailer, the system needs to be smart enough to recalculate its range to give you an accurate range, so you don't run out of battery and just get stranded somewhere, right? So vehicle networking, that's what it is, okay? Electrification, this is the battery network or the charging network for electric vehicles. Secure access, very simple. That's when you start your car with your watch, with your phone. You start your car electronically, not with like the key, which you click it twice and it starts. That's something else entirely. This is actually, you bring up your app for your Ford app, your Tesla app, on your smartwatch, on your phone. You turn on your car. That's the connectivity, and you need a chip to talk between your phone, your watch, to do it what you want it to do, okay? We also have ADAS. ADAS stands for Advanced Driver Assistance System, okay? And this is your self-driving technology through radar, through LiDAR, and you need chips for that, of course, right? When it comes to Tesla, everybody knows that they're ahead of the pack, and they have some of those NXP chips that they use for those kinds of technologies. But when it comes to Ford, we're talking about Ford Blue Cruise, where you don't need your hands. It's sort of like a really smart adaptive cruise control. And then in-vehicle experience, now we're talking infotainment, your seats, the windows, all kinds of different things in the car, your seat warmers. Those things are going to carry chips that transmit data to the brain of the car. Okay, so that's the automotive side in a nutshell there. Now, we move on to the mobile sector. or segment of their business, which is mobile wallet platforms. These are your payment systems. This is where you tap your watch or you tap your debit card instead of actually sliding in and inputting your PIN number. Access is sort of like a hotel room when you put your room key to a lock and it just beep, and you don't have to insert it or do any kind of that crazy stuff. It's that magnetic sort of feel to open the room, or open an office, or open a hotel room, of course. And then mobile RF, that's chips in your phone. Wireless power, that's wireless charging for your phone. So very simple on the home side, or on the mobile side, I should say. And then, of course, talking about the home side, we have all manner of connectivity in the home. I mean, I think most of us know how the homes of the future are going to be connected through 5G, and you're going to have access to control pretty much anything in your home the same way you would a car through your phone or device. And wearables, audio, video, home control, security systems, all that are going to be controlled through that. And NXP provides chips for all manner of systems in your home. And I'll go over this last here, which is the communication and infrastructure. A lot of people find this to be very underwhelming, but they do underestimate the power of the data center. So AMD reported numbers today that I'm still going over on their data center side, and it is fantastic. The growth for data center, the need for cloud storage is just beyond belief, and it's a secular growth story, something that just keeps growing and growing no matter what happens in the economy. We need data center and we need chips to run those data centers. NXP can provide that, okay? So this is a very sort of an undervalued, kind of under the rug part of the business, which is amazing. It's fantastic. And just to close it up, for industrial, you have machine learning, assembly line, all kinds of things for for smarter assembly lines and factories. That's pretty much given. Also some power, some solar and wind energy. You have some chips there as well. Okay, now, but moving on, we're going to go to the chart. We're going to see here on the summary screen, Yahoo Finance, NXP Semiconductors trading at $209 a share. We picked this up at about 192, 193. I was hoping to get a better position established, but it ran away from me. Fine, so be it. Okay, market cap of $55 billion, trading at 37 times current earnings. All right, and then when we look at the future statistics, the forward PE at 16 looks to be extremely cheap. Okay, so if you wanted to pick up a semiconductor stock that has dividend payments, not very significant, but a huge amount of share buybacks and free cash flow, you can't go wrong with NXP. And I'll explain that in a little bit when I go over the earnings numbers and the earnings press release. All right, so let's move on. And let's go with the numbers. These are the Q4 2021 earnings numbers, and they are solid, guys. We have EPS, earnings per share, $2.24 versus Wall Street's expectation of $2.09. That's a solid beat any day of the week for over $50 billion company. Revenues coming in at $3 billion, a little bit over $3 billion versus slightly less than $3 billion expected. That's a nice beat as well. Guidance is a little bit tough to understand, but we're looking at Q1 2022 GAAP and non-GAAP revenues of 3.02 to 3.17 billion. It reflects about a 0 to 4% quarter-over-quarter growth rate, but year-over-year represents an 18 to 24% year-over-year growth rate, which is very strong. Now, the full-year guide is tough to understand. They're not saying this is our full-year guide. They're not saying that at all, okay? They're saying, hey, we're not able to establish because we still have supply chain issues, and those are still prevalent, and they're unpredictable. So they're saying essentially, look, we're looking at about a 20% compounded annual growth rate. That's what CAGR here, compounded annual growth rate. So 12% expected, but there is optimism that management will find that the compounded annual growth rate is actually higher than that with the improvement of supply chain. So I'm saying this is a meet of the expectation, not a miss or a beat, but it's sort of like a meet that leans towards a beat of the expectation. All right, so let's move on to the actual earnings press release. So this earnings press release here, there's not a lot to take in that the street didn't already know, but it's nice to kind of point out some positive things here in the press release. So here we have in the fourth quarter 3.04 billion in revenue. This is a 21% year-on-year increase, which is very, very strong. The other things to note here are the free cash flow, $2.31 billion of free cash flow. We also have collaboration with Ford, which we already knew from back in November, for their enhanced driver experiences. We're talking about Ford Blue Cruise, which is going to be featured on their F-150 Lightning. Very much looking forward to that one, guys, all right? I don't know what happened to my mouse, but hey, is it working out? Yeah, it's working out. Okay. So we have the Ford Motor Company announcement. We already know that. However, this is the biggest point of the earnings press release right here. January 31st, 2022, Board of Directors approved a 50% increase in the quarterly cash dividend of 0.84 cents per share. Not a lot, guys. That seems like peanuts compared to a share price of $209 a share. However, we're not in the stock because of the dividend. We're in the stock because of its value, of its valuation, its growth prospects, but also an additional $2 billion share repurchase program, which is added in addition to the remaining $1.35 billion for share repurchase program. Extremely strong. So remember, share repurchases, these guys are themselves buying their own stock and taking it out of the market and actually reducing the supply of stock out there. Very positive. When we have a growth rate, when we have a dividend, when we have things going well for the company. So very strong, specifically with free cash flow and actually returning money to shareholders. Very happy to hear news like this in a earnings press release. Now with these conference call highlights, I want to kind of go over these real quick and just brush over them. So Q4 revenue, $39 million, came in better than the midpoint of the prior guidance. That's always positive. Year-over-year growth being driven by factory utilization and higher revenues. Factory utilization means that they're just making better use of their production capacity, and consistent demand for NXP products is strong, and it's greater than supply, which is the problem that everybody's having nowadays, okay? They're anticipating continuation of strong demand through 2022. Automotive full-year revenues up 44% on the full-year revenues, and this is because it's being driven by OEMs prioritizing premium vehicles like the Mustang Mach-E and the Ford Bronco, and now pretty soon the F-150 Lightning. These are premium vehicles. These ain't cheap, guys, all right? And then EVs need a significantly greater amount of chips than ICE vehicles. We've been over that over and over again. That is the growth vector. Again, industrial and Internet of Things, that's IoT, full-year revenues up 31%. Mobile full-year revenues up 13%, but down 9% from previous quarter because of some product discontinuations. That's totally normal. That happens, okay? But there's still growth drivers there: mobile wallets, ultra wideband solutions, and mobile power solutions. I showed you guys that in the beginning. Communications infrastructure full year revenues up 3%, driven by a renewed demand for secure transit, tagging, and access solutions. Okay, so we've been over that also. This is where you grab a magnet and you open a security door with it, or open a hotel room door or something to that effect with a magnet or a chip. Okay, high optimism for growth in 2022, even more so than previously guided on the November 2021 Investor Day. Okay, so that's the conference call highlights. Now in conclusion, and to close this out, so we have a solid quarter, okay, with added bonus of dividend. That's a small added bonus. The big added bonus, of course, share buybacks, $3.35 million of share buybacks. That's a huge buyer on the market specifically for the stock. That is a win any day of the week. Okay, we also have very strong demand for products with no sign of that demand slowing. There's optimism from management that the high end of the full year guidance can and should be beat. That's what I'm talking about. They're talking about 12% on the high end compounded annual growth rate. I'm thinking more 15 to 17. That's just my opinion. That's what I'm going to go with. But the bad side is Chinese supply chains need to improve in order for growth to explode. Again, we're talking about COVID zero in China, meaning there's no there's no tolerance for the Rona out there, and that affects supply chains. It makes them unpredictable. Okay, now to close it out, if you guys have any questions about NXP Semiconductor, the price, the stock, please let me know. Hit me up on Instagram. Hit me up on the Stock Gladiator Discord. Be happy to answer any questions there. Best to you guys. Peace out.